Okay, this presentation is about electrical safety, mainly high voltage, because in the past we've had people get electrocuted, which is not good, or severely injured, because they don't realize sometimes how close they are to the power lines. In the old days before cable TV and satellite dishes, everybody depended on antennas for TV. And people would start lifting their antenna up and lose control of it and get electrocuted, as this gentleman did. You know, a gust of wind, or they trip and they lose control of it, and whammo. And the sad thing was that sometimes it wasn't one victim, it was two, because he had help, okay? And that would be very sad, because a lot of times it's a family member or a close friend. Okay, with the trees, we tell people, please don't plant those trees directly under the power lines or close enough, because that little tree is going to grow up someday. And if it gets close enough where it makes contact with the power lines, this is what's going to happen. It's going to start burning. Eventually, it can burn the wires down. Now, one thing to remember is that electricity is always looking for a way to go to ground, okay? And a tree basically is ground potential. It's grounded. So when that little tree starts growing up, it's almost like bringing the ground up towards the power lines, okay? And if comes a day when it makes contact, the wind starts blowing those branches into the power lines, you're going to see that effect, okay? So we tell people, please, if you got a tree that you think is too close to the power lines, don't take it upon yourself to climb the tree to prune it back, because that's another way people have gotten hurt in the past, okay? Call PGE. They got tree trimmers. That's all they do for the company, okay? Okie dokie. We'll go on to this gentleman with his pipe, his irrigator. Out in the fields, they use a lot of these pipes to irrigate. It's like a portable sprinkler system, and they move the lines. And sometimes they end up with the wrong end of the pipe, and the worker will say, oh, I want the other end, and flip the whole thing around and up in the air. And I realized how close he was to the power lines. And because those pipes are made out of aluminum, which is handy-dandy, light, metal to work with, but it's very conductive. So if you get into a power line, that current's going to come right down the pipe, through your body and out your feet on the way to ground. Always remember how electricity wants to go to ground. And our bodies are conductive, just like that tree is, okay? So maintain your clearance from power lines. Please tell the kids, or if you're with them, keep those kites away from power lines. Now, they tell me that at brand new kite string, when it's just out of the packet, is non-conductive. But with kites, what usually happens is they go down on the ground, they get dragged on the ground. If it's wet out there, it picks up moisture and dirt. Two contaminants that will make the kite string conductive, so that if you get it in the power line, the current is going to come down right through your body on the way to ground, okay? And we don't want that to happen to you. Okay. If you're in a construction area where they're using a truck like this backhoe to dig, we tell people, please stay away from it, because some people like to maybe lean on it or want to go get a tool or something. Be advised that if that operator happens to dig into a power line, at the moment that you're in contact with that tractor, same thing's going to happen. The current's going to come right through that tractor and through your body on the way to ground, okay? So stay away from that equipment, just in case. 811 is a number we just emphasize before digging, okay? 811 is the number to call before you start digging, whether you're going to plant a tree, fix a fence post, or anything of the like, okay? So call 811 before you dig. Please don't do like this gentleman. He just started digging, and whammo, he digs into an electrical line, okay? If it was a low voltage line, a service line, maybe he'll just burn the shovel off, okay? Maybe he didn't get hurt. But what's going to happen, he's going to get charged for damages. And that includes, like if it's a gas line, all the gas that is lost, materials, and all the labor. It can get pretty expensive. So please call 811 first before you start digging anywhere, okay? Nowadays, with a lot of the utilities being underground, especially all the new construction is going underground, you see a lot of those green boxes out there, okay? And they're high voltage equipment, transformers, switches, capacitors, anything like that. And what happens is the high voltage cables actually come in and they go out, you know, they come into this one, they go to the next one. And we tell people, please stay away from it, because I know kids like to get on there and jump and just hang out. And even though those boxes have those signs that say, please, you know, warning, warning, high voltage, maintain your distance from it, sometimes people just don't believe it. And like I said, those high voltage cables are in there, and if one of those cables comes loose, well, the box is all grounded, so you can imagine there's going to be an explosion. Okay, another thing that's happened is they tell me that people that go around stealing like copper have been known to cut the lock off of those boxes to see what they can take, and they leave the box wide open. If somebody comes up and touches anything in there, they're going to get electrocuted. So we don't want that happening to anybody. So please, if you ever see one of those boxes that is left open like that, nobody working in the area, call 911. That's an emergency. We don't want nobody coming in there and getting hurt. Okay, let me knock this wire down. And we'll talk a little bit about wires down. Okay, because it happens quite a bit in storms, car accidents, and the like. Okay, I think car accidents is the main reason for wires down. Okay, here we go. In this case, somebody lost control of the car, they hit the power pole. Okay, the wires went down. This Good Samaritan wants to help, right? But he comes over to check on the people inside the car, but he fails to see that the wire is in contact with the car. So when he makes contact with the car, because he's on the ground, he's grounded, right? The minute he touches the car, he gets electrocuted because the current comes through his body on the way to ground, and now he can't help anybody. If you're the person inside the car, well, the first thing you're going to do is call 911. You have yourself an emergency, right? And stay in the car. We tell people they're safer in the car because even though the car is all energized, you are at the same potential. I compare it to the bird on the wire, right? Because the birds, you see them on the wires all the time, but as long as there's no current going over to ground, you're okay. Okay. So what happens if the car catches on fire though before the help gets there? Then of course you're going to want to get down, right? And actually it's very simple. You just have to be cool and think about what you're doing. What you're going to have to do is jump in the clear, okay? You cannot get down the way we usually do, how we stick a leg out and we touch the ground while we're still in contact with the car, because then you're going to get electrocuted, okay? So you jump in the clear and you get away. You don't have to jump real far. It's just be careful that when you hit the ground, you don't lose your balance, fall back, and touch the car, okay? So you jump in the clear and you get away. And once you're on the ground, watch what you're touching, because this actually happened to a CHP officer writing up an accident report. He became a little complacent, went to go take a little break. He was going to lean on this fence post, but didn't realize or forgot that the wire was laying on the fence a little ways down, and he was electrocuted on the spot. Okay?